The town clung to the edges of existence. Forgotten by the world, it stood as a silent witness to the passage of time. Withered and worn, its name, if it ever had one beyond the local whispers of Lazarus, was lost to time. The streets, once bustling with life, now lay silent, overgrown with weeds and vines. The only landmark, a testament to its grim history, was the cathedral. St. Lazarus's ruin, they called it. It stood at the heart of the town, a monument to a forgotten past. Its spire, a fractured finger pointing accusingly at the sky, was the only thing visible for miles. It pierced the heavens, a reminder of the town's once lofty aspirations. The stone, once a pristine white, was now the colour of old bones. Time and neglect had taken their toll, leaving the walls cracked and weathered. The intricate carvings, once teeming with life, were now eroded, like the faces of the forgotten dead. Each figure, once meticulously crafted, now barely recognizable. The stained glass windows, once vibrant with holy light, were now dark, vacant eyes staring out at the desolate landscape. The colours that once told stories of saints and angels were now muted and lifeless. The town mirrored the cathedral's decay. Buildings stood empty, their insides stripped bare. Once homes and shops, they were now mere shells, echoes of a life long gone. Windows gaped like missing teeth, and doors hung precariously from their hinges. The structures seemed to groan under the weight of their own abandonment. The few remaining souls moved like spectres through the empty streets. Their presence was a haunting reminder of what once was, and what could never be again. The air hung heavy with the smell of damp earth and something else, something ancient and unsettling. It was a scent that clung to the skin, a reminder of the town's dark secrets. It was the smell of decay, of forgotten things best left undisturbed. The very air seemed to whisper of the past, of stories untold and mysteries unsolved. It was the smell of St. Lazarus's ruin, a place where time stood still and shadows of the past lingered, casting a pall over the town that would never lift. Centuries ago, St. Lazarus's ruin had been a beacon of faith. Its halls had echoed with the voices of devout parishioners and the soaring melodies of the cathedral choir. The town prospered under the watchful gaze of Father Gabriel, a man renowned for his piety and devotion. Then, on a night thick with fog and dread, a travelling choir arrived at the town's edge. They were a gaunt and unsettling group, their faces hidden beneath hooded cloaks. Their voices, however, were ethereal, captivating the townsfolk with their otherworldly beauty. Father Gabriel, initially hesitant, allowed the choir to stay at the cathedral. He was captivated by their voices, convinced they were a gift from God, a sign of his favour. He invited them to perform during the Sunday service. The townsfolk filled the pews, eager to hear the celestial voices once more. As the choir began to sing, an unnatural silence fell over the cathedral. Their voices, no longer beautiful, were chilling, filled with an ancient sorrow that seeped into the very stones. Father Gabriel, his face contorted in horror, realized too late the true nature of the choir. He had always believed their voices to be a divine gift, a blessing that brought the community together. But now, standing in the dim light of the Gothic church, he saw the truth. Their voices weren't divine. They were a curse, an echo of something dark and ancient. The melodies that once seemed heavenly now revealed their sinister undertones, resonating with a malevolent force that had been lying dormant for centuries. Their song, a siren's call, began to warp the townsfolk, twisting their souls, their humanity. The once joyful faces of the villagers contorted into grotesque masks of fear and anguish, as if their very essence was being drained by the haunting harmonies. The townsfolk, their eyes glazed over, swayed to the chilling melody. It was as if they were puppets, their strings pulled by an unseen hand, moving in unison to the eerie rhythm that filled the air. Their faces, once filled with life, were now masks of despair and something else, something hungry and cold. The warmth that once radiated from their eyes was replaced by a hollow emptiness, a void that echoed the darkness of the choir's song. They had become echoes of the choir, their souls tethered to the cursed song. The villagers, now mere shadows of their former selves, wandered the streets like lost spirits, their minds ensnared by the unholy music. Father Gabriel, his faith shattered, tried to stop the choir, to break the spell. He prayed fervently, calling upon every ounce of his spiritual strength. But the choir's power was too great, its roots too deep in the fabric of the town. But it was too late. The choir's voices wrapped around him, suffocating him, his pleas for salvation swallowed by the unholy symphony. The more he struggled, the tighter the grip of the cursed melody became, until he could no longer breathe. He became a prisoner in his own cathedral, a puppet to the silent choir's will. His once commanding presence reduced to a mere shadow, he moved mechanically, his actions dictated by the dark force that now controlled him. The town, once vibrant, withered under the oppressive silence. The bustling market square, the lively chatter of neighbours, all fell silent, replaced by an eerie stillness that hung heavy in the air. The land grew barren, the laughter of children replaced by the mournful whispers of the wind. The playgrounds, once filled with the joyous cries of play, now stood empty and desolate, the swings creaking in the ghostly breeze. St. Lazarus's ruin, once a symbol of hope, became a tomb, its shadow a suffocating blanket over the cursed town. The church, which had stood as a beacon of light and faith, now loomed as a dark reminder of the town's fall, its walls echoing with the silent screams of the lost souls within. Centuries later, Elias Blackwell, a historian and scholar of the occult, arrived at the edge of the forgotten town. The air was thick with an eerie silence, and the fog seemed to cling to him as if trying to pull him back. He had spent years researching the legend of St. Lazarus's ruin, drawn to its dark history and the mystery of the silent choir. His nights were filled with the flickering light of candles, poring over ancient texts and scrolls that spoke of the town's cursed past. He sought the truth behind the legend, the source of the curse. The silent choir, a name whispered in fear, had become an obsession for him. He believed that understanding its origins could unlock secrets long buried. He had read countless accounts, each more disturbing than the last, describing the town's desolation and the chilling silence that permeated everything. The illustrations in the books were haunting, depicting scenes of despair and torment. The locals, the few who dared to speak of it, warned him of the curse, urging him to turn back. Their eyes were filled with a mix of fear and pity, as if they knew the fate that awaited him. Elias, however, was not deterred. His resolve was unshakable, driven by a need to uncover the truth that had eluded so many before him. He believed the curse was more than just a local legend. The symbols and texts he had studied hinted at a deeper, more sinister force at play. It was a puzzle, a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Each piece of information he uncovered brought him closer to the heart of the enigma. He was determined to uncover the truth, even if it cost him his soul. The weight of his quest bore heavily on him, but he pressed on, driven by an insatiable curiosity. As he stepped into the town square, he was greeted by an oppressive silence. The stillness was almost tangible, pressing down on him from all sides. The air hung heavy, thick with the weight of centuries of sorrow and despair. It was as if the very atmosphere was imbued with the town's tragic history. The buildings stood like mourners, their windows like vacant eyes watching his every move. Each creak and groan of the old structures seemed to whisper secrets of the past. He felt a chill run down his spine, a sense of dread he couldn't shake off. The town seemed to be alive with a malevolent presence, watching and waiting. As he ventured deeper into the heart of the town, the shadows seemed to grow longer, and the silence more oppressive. He knew he was getting closer to the truth, but at what cost? In a hidden chamber, he found artifacts that seemed to pulse with a dark energy. The room was filled with relics of the past, each one telling a story of the town's cursed history. With a determined expression, Elias opened an ancient book, its pages brittle with age. The words within seemed to come alive, revealing secrets that had been hidden for centuries. As he stood at the edge of a dark abyss, the shadows closing in around him, he realized that the truth he sought might be more terrifying than he had ever imagined. But there was no turning back now.